Matt Watson may be New Zealand's most famous fisherman, but behind the TV persona is a passionate advocate for the ocean and sustainable fishing. Many Kiwis love getting out in the ocean or on our rivers for a spot of fishing. And depending on how you define recreational fisher, there is somewhere, I believe, between 600,000 up to maybe 1 million people doing some form of fishing in the country. And while critics may argue that encouraging recreational fishing could put pressure on fish stocks, is that really the truth? Matt Watson says the real problem lies elsewhere, and he joins me now. G'day, Matt.
Hey, mate.
Good to talk. Good to talk. Hey, you've been in or on around the wet stuff, the ocean, pretty much all your life. What is so special, Matty, about getting out and catching a fish or gathering seafood?
Well, it just connects us to the ocean. The act of fishing, obviously, you catch fish, which is cool and exciting, and you get that awesome byproduct of being able to bring something home to feed your family, which is innately what we're actually hardwired to do. The whole notion of jumping in a car, sitting in traffic to go and work for some boss you don't really like, to then get money, to then jump in a car, to then line up at the supermarket to buy a fish doesn't give you the same sort of thrill. And there's a reason for that, and that's because, going out and feeding ourselves is what we've done from the dawn of time, and it feels good. It feels good when you're successful. Yeah.
Only is this right? Only 4% of the fish that come out of our waters are caught by recreational anglers. The other 96 is taken commercially.
Yeah, and those stats are done from obviously recreational fishing surveys and also the catch landing statistics. So. That's the reported catch. Okay, so bear in mind, alongside that is not all of the boats have cameras, and the ones and the data that's come off the boats that do have cameras have actually said that the dumping of fish, discards, which, well, let's face it, it is dumping, the throwing away of fish, is actually underreported, and in some species, ninefold more is being dumped than what's actually being reported. So. We can still run with that figure of 96% are caught commercially, and then that other 4% is taken by those 600,000 to 1 million people that you spoke about. So there's never been a moment where I've said, hey, we're taking the least amount, we're not a problem. Two wrongs never made a right, and we can all do a lot better, particularly on the inshore fishery where a lot of recreational fish close to shore. That's a lot of people can put pressure on localized areas. But if you're working purely off the numbers and you want to fix a fishery, let's deal with the 96%, because that is the bulk of the fish coming out of our water.
Yeah. So you mentioned, the bycatch and throwing away fish. What else over the years have you noticed that has disturbed you? It's the bottom trawling, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So, as we said, I don't think there's any New Zealander that thinks that it's okay to go and catch, precious a fish, or several fish, and say, hey, we don't want those at the moment because they're not good value for us. We could make more money if we use our quota at a different time of the year. Let's chuck them overboard. And I'm not saying all fishermen do it, but it's a practice that goes on, and the cameras are saying that this discards is being underreported. So there's that, and I think that gets the ire of most New Zealanders. But also the notion that some of the techniques that we are using in New Zealand, or particularly in New Zealand, when you compare us to the rest of the world, is the amount of bottom trawling we're doing. So it's in the process of gathering these fish to get them to market, we're destroying the habitat that actually makes them grow and makes it sustainable. It breaks the whole thing down. Now, there's a whole number of reasons why fisheries get depleted, but to me, those really big ones that we can fix is sort out the method. Let's not use destructive methods that destroy the seafloor, particularly in sensitive areas, food-producing areas, and let's stop wasting fish. Stop throwing them away.
Yeah. I know it sounds I know it sounds self-explanatory, but for the non-fishing people, but no, for me, the can you explain what the bottom trawling looks like? That they just drop this huge hard net or something that goes
Yeah,
to the bottom.
there's big rollers that roll along the sea floor, and
Yeah.
there's chains as well and wires, and part of their function is obviously to keep contact with the sea floor, so there's no fish getting away under the net, and that's because a lot of species of fish live close to the sea floor. But it also, by churning up the sediment, it actually stops the fish seeing where they're going, and basically guides them into the net and then through into the coddy at the very back.
Yeah.
So it's and there's a lot being said about sensitive corals that can be hundreds of years old, which of course need protecting. But importantly, the benthic zone, which is areas where the sunlight can reach the sea floor, and there's that sediment. There's a whole lot of microorganisms that live in there that turn dead matter basically back into food, and it kicks off the whole food chain. And studies have shown that bottom trawling, when they go through these sensitive areas, it can take 7 years if left alone before they can heal and start producing food again, which is pretty outrageous. If that was being done on land in plain sight of everybody, if there was something rolling through our farmlands and paddocks, destroying it, and it wouldn't be better
everything.
again for 7
just
years,
took everything with it.
There would be people would be marching down the street. But because the ocean is so vast and it is out of sight, and I guess we've been brought up in an era, or at least my parents were, where it's this infinitely sustainable thing. I remember as a kid, the recreational limit was 30 snapper per person. And my dad would make sure that when he, my brother, and I went out, we came back with our 90. It was like a target. And it was just assumed.
Yeah.
And then he would complain about having to fillet them all. And I would be on my push bike distributing them to all the old ladies in the community and loading up on cakes in return. But the point there is that, do I think my dad's a bad, greedy person? No. But he was raised to think that it's the ocean, it's going to keep producing. But it is finite what's out there, and we're seeing it with depleted stock levels.
And our commercial fisheries, Matt, they're allowed to do it, correct? But hasn't it not? This practice has been banned in many countries, has it not?
It has. Yeah, it has, because of the destruction. I mean, it's a big investment to change to more sustainable fishing methods. And all I can put it down to is that, the very nature of a company is to make money. That's its function.
Sure.
It's what it's designed to do. And if you can make more profit by spending less, that is, you're not replacing your fleet of boats and moving out of an unsustainable method, and you carry on doing it, well, you can make more money. So, of course, the very nature of the company is to try and do it as efficiently as possible for as long as, well, when I say efficiently in terms of making money, the fishermen on these boats, the men and women that work at sea, it's not them. And I just want to be very clear, I'm not pointing my finger at commercial fishers at all. I was a commercial fisher. My family's still in the business, owner-operators of small boats. And when you have the people that own the quota on the water, they care about it and they want to look after it. When the boat's owned by a company or shareholders of a company and the quota's owned by the shareholders, it's all being driven to make as much money as possible.
Yeah.
So decisions are based on making money, not on the environment or not on this thing that we love. And a lot of people that are making the profit have probably never been on a boat or never been to sea or don't care about it. So it's, the system originally, I believe, and it has failed, well, it's proven to be a failure now, the quota management system. When it was set up, it was designed for that quota to be treated like a resource that they owned, like the fishers, the men and women that were on the water, and they're like, right, we've got this amount, we've got to look after it because we love the ocean, we love being out here, we want to see this last. But it all got gobbled up by big
Mm.
companies, and then they work closely alongside the Ministry of Primary Industries, the Ministry of Fisheries, to say, well, look, let's maximise the yield that we can get out of this.
Right. Yeah.
And what's been lost in that equation is, that 4% of the fish, the recreational fishing economy, is a $1.4 billion economy. An independent study, I believe it was done, 8 or 9 years ago now, came up with that figure. So I don't even know what it is today.
Yeah.
So if you want to look at...
couple of things though, Matt, because it's okay. So is this, you've called the system shameful. Does that, because, I mean, has the industry got too much influence to start with? And secondly, isn't like killing your golden goose if you're overfishing, if you're not allowing ecosystems to recover, eventually, you're not going to catch anything. Or
Yes.
does it not work like that?